wishing you a wonderful Wednesday. So we're still on Anahata chakra, right? The fourth chakra, which is a connection of the lower chakras and the higher chakras. And I'm a little bit in my mad scientist mode because I'm between clients right now. And you know, really the work I do is really seeing patterns in your body, observing patterns of movement. I'm a movement expert, specializing, clearly I use the tools of yoga, a more therapeutic approach to yoga, which really treats every individual as unique and also looks at you as much more than your physical body, right? I work in the realm of body, but for sure things will come up on your other levels of being, your emotional, energetic self, your thought self, your belief self, and so forth. So something that I've been thinking about lately, I guess, is really this kind of disconnect. So often we know how to move, you know that you have maybe better movement options available for you than how you're choosing to move or how your body is moving in this moment, but there's a disconnect between your head and your heart, right? And whether this is because the head learned that the head can control, right? So the head's telling the body what to do, but the body's like, dude, I'm so much smarter than you. Like, I know how to, this is my job, go do your work. You know, go be your intellect in the world, but let me be in my intuitive self, right? The body is intuitive, the body knows, the belly of the brain knows things. You can know if you want to have a relationship with someone, you can know if you want to do business with someone in a second, in split seconds. Whereas you won't be able to formulate the words for why until minutes, right? But in a split second or less, you can have a feeling about someone or have a feeling about a situation and know if it's right or wrong for you. And it takes some time for the rational mind to be able to process that and put that to words, and often the rational mind comes in and tries to explain things away. But really what I'm understanding my work as more and more is just supporting you to get back into your body, into your intuitive self, into the self that knows. You know how to move in the world, you know that you have more options. Your brain has other work to do, and I really encourage my clients, your time on the mat, tell your brain that this is its vacation time. Turn your brain off. It doesn't need to maneuver. This is its vacation time. The other 20-something hours of the day, it can be in charge. Right now, let your body be in charge. Let your heart be in charge. And in yoga, there's a concept of Anahata Nadi, right? So we know Anahata chakra is the fourth heart chakra. Anahata Nadi is this idea that there's a cosmic sound that's permeating existence at all times. We can't necessarily perceive it, but there's a certain kind of connection we have to it. And it really made me think of the concept of heart entrainment, which can be seen amongst any people for sure, but in particular the relationship between mother and child, where heartbeats synchronize, right? Your heartbeat is so many times more powerful than your brain waves. Like electromagnetically, I think electrically it's thousands of times more powerful and maybe hundreds of times more magnetically, or the opposite, I forget. But electromagnetically, your heart waves reach way further distances than your brain, than your thoughts, and are way more powerful. And the relationship between a mother and a child, the mother, by eye contact, by being in close proximity with her baby, can influence the baby's heartbeat, right? When a baby cries, the mother picks it up, like you can figure out why is your baby crying, and the baby sometimes right away, that's all it needed, just to be in close proximity to the mother. If a mother's in a stressful state, the baby will pick up on that. If the mother's in a calm, relaxed, clear state, the baby will pick up on that. So the mother's heartbeat can influence the baby's heartbeat. The baby will synchronize his or her heart to the mother's heart. And we can do this with each other as well. Really, the more dominant one will have a greater influence. And in yoga, the idea of, or how I understand the idea of dominance, is not clearly overpowering and bullying and bossing. It's more who is more in their body, who more owns themselves, who is more in the seat of their own power, who is more in their heart self. And that's the more dominant person. That's the one that's going to be able to affect their environment, rather than be totally impacted by their environment. So if you want to be more powerful, get more in your heart space, be more in your body. Really, that's what I'm understanding the work I do to be more and more. So heart center deals with lungs, deals with upper back. There's a lot of grief and sadness that can be held in this area. So when you start turning in, you know, the process of enlightenment or so might not be a beautifully smooth path. It might bring up pain, it might bring up different feelings you've not want to felt for some time. So really be gentle with yourself. The heart center is about compassion. So being compassionate with yourself, like you would be compassionate with another, is so important. I suggest doing a little bit of movement. So just taking your shoulders and seeing if you can make big circles forward, up towards your ears, back and down. And you want to check out that you're not moving your back, and you just isolate your shoulder movement, right? And then take it forward. And then you can play around with one shoulder at a time. Not to judge, because most likely you'll have one shoulder that moves a little differently than the other. One might have more freedom of movement, one might have less. And then you'll take a stretch. You can bring one arm up, take your opposite hand to the opposite ribs, the ribs on the side of the raised arm. And you want to just check out that you're not going into deep back bend, so soften your ribs in, let your hands be like a loving, gentle sandbag. Soften your ribs in, and from this space, allow your raised hand palm to begin to turn towards the palm turning in, so your thumb turning back. And you see where it goes, but no strain. Don't go beyond the place that you can breathe or beyond the place that you can sit easily. And with each exhale, let the hands on your lower ribs just soften down. With each inhale, let your fingers aspire to the sky. Taking a few good breaths here. All right, you can be here for a few breaths, and then you'll slowly release. And just take a moment before you move to the next side, see how you feel. Okay, second side. You can take your arm up and see where your ribs go naturally, and then take your hands to your lower ribs. Keep your ribs softly down. You're not forcing a kind of slunged posture. You're just stabilizing your lower ribs down so you move from your shoulder, not from your back. And then this raised hand, flip the palm back so the thumb is moving out, the pinky is moving in. With each exhale, your hand is a loving sandbag on your lower ribs, just keeping a connection between your ribs, your lower ribs, and your pelvis. With each inhalation, your fingers aspire upwards. And there's always this, in Hebrew, there's a concept of ratz b'shuv, right? Like a running and returning and ascending and coming back down to earth. So you can think of it like the inhalation is expanding you, sending you out in all directions, and the exhalation, you're coming back to yourself. And there has to be that kind of ebb and flow in life. Expand beyond and return home. Okay? And my talking makes the time go quicker. And then release it out, and again, take a moment. If you have a tennis ball or like a muscle release ball, connective tissue ball, you can take it, bring it to just the space underneath your collarbones. You can do this work lying down or sitting up or standing really throughout your day. And you're just going to gently roll, not on your collarbone, below your collarbone. Okay, you're going to roll from sternum, your medial collarbone, that central point, out towards your upper arm bone. Okay, you can do this a few times. You can work it, honestly, I'd say 2 minutes. At least on one side. I'm not going to do that now, but you do it for 2 minutes. You go to your other side. Again, you're starting from underneath your collarbone, from the inner point, by your sternum, by your breastbone, and then out. And you can go in lines, or you can make little circles, moving out towards your upper arm bone. You'll come back. You can go through that a few times, and then you can take the ball above your collarbone and just work it around the side of your neck, and then over your shoulder, towards your back. Do it again, both sides. I'd say 2 minutes or so each time, because you're working with connective tissue, and that takes, connective tissue fascia, it takes longer than working with a muscle to bring some release to, some hydration to. So take that moment, and then once you're there, then go into your breathing practice. So your hands can be on your lap, your hands can be on your heart. That's a beautiful way to really connect with yourself. I say softly close your eyes unless you're in a great state of depression, and keep your eyes open. But going inwards, right? Bring a connection to an awareness of the connection to your feet on the ground, on the earth. And then coming into your heart space is a really beautiful way to be. So you can think each exhalation, your consciousness drops from your head into the seat of your heart. And again, the chakra is represented by the color green. Okay, so you'll take a few breaths here, and then just slowly come out and see how you feel. Where is your presence? What's the state of your being? And I just wanted to give you a little, I love this sound, just to give you a little. Okay, a little calming for the day. So have a beautiful day, everyone. Explore your heart chakra. If you want to learn more, if you want to work on all the layers of your being through your body, hit me up, be in touch. If this spoke with you, like, love, and share it.